There's a myriad of them, but one in particular I remember, probably about third grade. We had this teacher, Miss Heron, and she said, we were learning about the word minority.
I was testing for a show that ended up actually getting picked up and doing very well, and I was one of two people, maybe, and then I get a call from my managers and my agent. They were both on the line, which means it's something serious.
Right.
Either you got the job or there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And they said, so you were the choice, but the network said that your eyebrows would be too distracting.
Oh, what?
Oh no.
And then they went like, so what can we do about your eyebrows?
A quiet storm has been brewing in Hollywood, sending shockwaves through those who've been paying close attention. Rob McElhenney has allegedly uncovered a hidden agenda involving none other than his longtime friend, Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan's wife, Blake Lively. For weeks, speculation has been swirling about a carefully orchestrated plan, one that seemed almost too intricate to be real. But until Rob stepped in, no one could quite connect the dots. The revelation has left many stunned, especially those who have long admired Rob and Ryan's dynamic, built on humor, collaboration, and mutual success. Together, they've carved out a reputation as one of Hollywood's most beloved comedic duos. Yet now, the entertainment industry finds itself grappling with an unfolding mystery that only gets stranger by the day. If Rob's assertions are true, Ryan and Blake's seemingly immaculate public image may conceal something considerably more complex than anyone could have imagined. Whispers of behind-the-scenes strife began as little more than standard Hollywood talk. However, insiders soon revealed a deeper, more convoluted relationship, based on Blake Lively's involvement in Justin Baldoni's widely anticipated film adaptation of It Ends With Us. On the surface, the project appeared to be an exciting new step for Blake, with the opportunity to play a part with depth and emotional weight. Early reports portrayed a picture of her unshakable commitment, implying that her star power would be crucial to the film's success. Meanwhile, Ryan's public persona as the ever-supportive husband gave every indication that he was rooting for her from the sidelines. Their jovial social media banter further reinforced the notion that everything was well between them, a simple, easygoing connection that people admired. However, something was wrong behind the humorous conversations and polished red carpet presentations. Rob McElhenney, well known for his frank honesty and no-nonsense style, began hearing rumors that did not fit with the regular Hollywood gossip mill. What he discovered wasn't simply an ordinary behind-the-scenes quarrel, it was far more deliberate. Justin wasn't just the film's director and co-writer, he was its beating heart, shaping every aspect of the production while also starring in a lead role. His influence was undeniable. At first, fans dismissed the behind-the-scenes tension as just another case of creative clashes, an all-too-common reality in Hollywood, especially when strong personalities collide. But soon, whispers turned into full-blown rumors. Reports surfaced suggesting that someone, allegedly close to Blake, was strategically feeding negative stories to the tabloids, painting Justin in a bad light. Initially, many assumed Blake was simply defending herself, but then, Rob dropped a bombshell that flipped the entire narrative. According to Rob, this wasn't just a spontaneous feud, it was a carefully orchestrated strategy. Ryan and Blake weren't just reacting to the drama, they were allegedly engineering it. The goal? To turn Blake into a Hollywood power player. In their eyes, the film's success, combined with a well-crafted public sympathy arc, could elevate Blake's status significantly, especially if audiences saw her as a misunderstood actress, struggling under difficult conditions. The more the tabloids ate up the drama, the more attention the project received, and the more Blake could control the narrative in her favor. But here's where things take a darker turn. According to Rob, Ryan was actually manipulating strings behind the scenes, far from being the jovial, helpful spouse he seemed to be. He allegedly used his contacts in the industry to keep the gossip going while making sure Blake continued to project an innocent victim persona. This was more than a simple publicity gimmick. If accurate, it was a well-planned game to influence public opinion. Following the release of explosive text messages, private conversations involving Blake, Ryan, and important production members, Rob's disclosures gained popularity. Blake made mention to her dragons in these release conversations, who many people assume were her inner circle of strong allies, with Ryan at the forefront. According to these texts, Blake wasn't just attempting to defend herself, rather she was actively managing the situation to guarantee that she came out on top, regardless of what was actually going on behind closed doors. This knowledge was heartbreaking for Rob. He had viewed Ryan as a collaborator and a buddy. He had appreciated Blake's charm and skill. but he was shocked to learn that they might have been planning a huge public relations campaign behind the scenes. He didn't believe it at first. However, it became impossible to ignore as more and more evidence accumulated, including text messages, insider testimony, and well-timed leaks. After confiding in mutual acquaintances, he discovered that others shared his uneasiness. Rob ultimately made the decision to go public when the burden of it all became too much to conceal. He felt that the truth had to be said, not just to clear his own conscience, but also to stop more abuse and deception. Rob stressed in his remarks that creative conflicts are common on a movie set. However, what took place here? There was more than just artistic tension here, it was an intentional campaign. He drew attention to how Justin Baldoni was purposefully portrayed by the media as intrusive, with the headlines hinting that he had breached Blake's personal space and disregarded her postpartum difficulties. In front of the world, a meticulously constructed story was being told. But was it true, or just another delusion from Hollywood?
I was testing for a show that ended up actually getting picked up and doing very well, and I was one of 2 people maybe, and then I get a call from my managers and my agent. They were both on the line, which means it's something serious.
Right.
Either you got the job or there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And they said, so you were the choice, but the network said that your eyebrows would be too distracting.
Oh, what?
Oh no.
And then they went like, so what can we do about your eyebrows?
Amber Heard, a once-adored celebrity whose reputation drastically changed when news stories surfaced, experienced precisely that. There is a clear similarity just by mentioning her name. In both instances, the public first supported a female star who claimed to have been unfairly demonized. But new information later emerged, changing public opinion and making many people reevaluate their presumptions. The pattern is uncannily similar. Even though the details of each issue vary, rumors of media manipulation, disagreements over what was said behind closed doors, and conflicting text messages all contributed. The notion that Ryan Reynolds, a gregarious, laid-back actor renowned for his humorous charm, may be a major participant in a well-planned plot, however, was what really caught people off guard. Few anticipated this degree of deceit. Rob urges Ryan to clarify the circulating allegations against him and Blake, insisting that he first attempted to resolve matters discreetly. But as more text logs and behind-the-scenes stories surfaced, it became clear that a much larger plot was underway, in addition to a purposeful narrative being created. This allegedly entailed establishing strategic partnerships with specific tabloids and entertainment blogs in order to manage the narrative. What was perhaps more shocking were the statements made by a number of It Ends With Us production assistants who wished to remain anonymous. They spoke of an uncomfortable workplace, where they were expressly instructed to keep quiet if they saw discrepancies in the narratives being presented to the public. According to Rob, the intention was to maintain the debate in the public eye, so tensions on set would rise anytime Justin tried to explicitly address the circulating claims. The situation was only intensified when entire text threads were made public. Blake had sent extensively altered letters to Justin early on, portraying her as someone who was under a lot of stress and begging for his sympathy. Many admirers felt sorry for her because they understood the challenges faced by actors who returned to work after achieving personal achievements. Later on, though, Rob assisted in making the unedited versions of those messages public, which painted an entirely different picture. In contrast to Blake's assertions, she had never expressed any worries at the time and had even encouraged certain contacts. According to Rob, it was clear that Blake had been framed as the victim by selective editing, which was entirely consistent with the overall plan. He thinks Ryan was at the center of it all, assisting her in carrying out the plan.
The idea that people think that they know you, I think because of how intrusive media is these days, people care so much more about your personal life than they do your work, and if you aren't open with your personal life, then they just make it up for you and share it for you.
The notion that Ryan might have manipulated the post-production process of the movie by using his power is one of the most startling allegations in the entire story. Rob claims that Ryan had the kind of pull that might quietly sway the final cut in Blake's favor because of his long-standing contacts in Hollywood, which were established through his distinctive comedy and extremely lucrative brand partnerships. Ryan could have made sure that the cuts minimized any set tensions while showcasing Blake in the best possible light with the correct amount of behind-the-scenes pressure. Even more strategically, marketing collateral might be thoughtfully created to emphasize an inspiring story of perseverance, hardship, and eventual success as the underdog. Wenjar, If executed successfully, the final film wouldn't just be a movie. It would be a glowing testament to Blake's perseverance, overshadowing any whispers of behind-the-scenes drama. But that wasn't the only twist in this unfolding controversy. Justin Baldoni, the film's director, unexpectedly found himself in a precarious position. Rob suggests that while Justin was merely trying to keep the production on track, he may have been unknowingly cast as the scapegoat in a larger, orchestrated conflict, one that he had little real power to control. Then came the moment that sent shockwaves through insiders. Blake's own attorney abruptly stepped away from representing her. At first, the couple framed this as nothing more than a routine Hollywood shakeup, an innocent change in legal strategy. But soon, the truth began to surface. Something far more damning was at play. Rob claims that Blake's lawyer had access to unedited text messages, and what they saw raised serious red flags. The public narrative that Blake had been pushing, it reportedly did not match the documented reality. This wasn't just a routine legal departure. It was an exit laced with silent condemnation. The lawyer's decision to walk away added a heavy layer of credibility to those who believed that Blake's story had been carefully orchestrated from the start. And at this point, Rob had seen enough to believe that this wasn't just about media spin. It was something much bigger. Some are calling it a full-blown master plan, one designed to achieve two very calculated goals. First, to catapult Blake into a new level of stardom by crafting a public image drenched in sympathy and admiration. And second, to solidify both her and Ryan's status as Hollywood's ultimate power couple, ensuring their long-term success and financial future. Rob even draws comparisons to past scandals that, despite their controversy, propelled certain stars into unprecedented fame. But there's one undeniable truth about playing with public perception. It only works as long as the cracks don't show. And when they do, the entire facade can come crashing down. Justin Baldoni handled the situation with poise, ensuring that the entire unedited chat was accessible for all to see. By doing so, he enabled neutral spectators to examine the entire background for themselves rather than depending on chosen narratives. Rob explains how this strategy frequently dismantles planned narrative. Once the whole scale of an event is disclosed, it is far more difficult to maintain a one-sided view that neatly ignores crucial elements. As more information became available, Rob speculated that Blake and Ryan's carefully prepared scheme began to crumble. Their version of events no longer matched the developing evidence, making it impossible to maintain the original story. That turning point became increasingly clearer when their own counsel opted to withdraw, afraid to defend a client whose assertions no longer matched the established fact. The situation simply got worse from there. Members of the It Ends With Us production team began speaking out in interviews or on social media to shed light on different occurrences involving Blake, providing a behind-the-scenes look that shifted the public's opinion.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me, is that she's a walking, talking contradiction, yet it's perfectly harmonious for her.
There were times when she was friendly, helpful, and a true team player, only for everything to take a quick, unexpected turn. Just when everything appeared to be going well, rapid shifts would catch the crew off guard, leaving them perplexed as to what had occurred. Some describe attempting to clear up minor misunderstandings, believing they had handled the situation, only to later see those same moments transformed into massive scandals in the tabloids. What should have been trivial inconveniences turned into headline-grabbing drama. Ra is convinced that this was not random, but rather calculated. The incessant back and forth fueled the mayhem, keeping fans and media engaged. As the confusion and controversy grew, it became easier to spin the story that Blake was being mistreated by a recalcitrant director. That perception remained strong until the unfiltered text logs revealed a very different image. But the true shock for many was not the nature of those revelations, but Rob's decision to go public. He could have kept quiet to avoid jeopardizing his personal and professional relationships. Instead, he stood up, emphasizing that, in his opinion, honesty was more important than loyalty, especially when reputations and even careers were at risk. His direct honesty has elicited both admiration and criticism. Some Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively fans believe Rob misinterprets the situation, or worse, is unknowingly fueling rumors that could affect everyone involved. Others, however, consider him as a truth teller, revealing what they see to be a purposeful attempt at manipulation. What about the analogies to the Amber Heard controversy? Unavoidable. Both cases include carefully designed public narratives, with selective information emerging at first, followed by a sudden shift as more damaging data surface. In all situations, followers of one side were taken aback when new information contradicted their previous understanding of the events. However, there is one significant difference. Rob McElhenney is not simply an outsider commenting on the issue. He was once associated with the couple. Thus, his discoveries felt more like an insider revealing the truth than a standard media attack. While Amber Heard's case was resolved in court, with legal battles and conflicting testimony, this issue is developing in a different way, through someone who was once a trusted friend who is now telling what transpired behind the scenes. The added dimension of personal betrayal makes it much more explosive. So far, Ryan and Blake have been mute on Rob's accusations, fueling speculation that they are hustling behind the scenes. Industry sources say they are in full damage control mode, maybe conferring with new legal teams, drafting answers, or attempting to manage the consequences before it spirals out of hand. But there is one thing they cannot ignore: their first attorney's quick departure, a clear indication that not everything can be easily swept under the rug.
I internalized that as opportunity. We had such a responsibility to this audience to deliver something and to have the opportunity to deliver something for a passionate group of people.
Yes.
As someone who is so deeply passionate myself, I was so excited about that. I would so much rather have that than people who are indifferent.
Fans who were formerly delighted by the couple's funny social media posts are now scouring old interviews for evidence that can corroborate or refute the existence of a covert plot. They recall how readily Ryan and Rob joked on camera, how they appeared to have a seamless connection, an on-screen chemistry that now contrasts with Rob's disturbing confessions. Starks, the impact extends beyond the film set. Producers are allegedly apprehensive of committing to future projects with Ryan and Blake if the negative publicity persists. Industry observers warn that such reluctance may grow if further proof emerges that they manipulated entire controversies for personal advantage. Some entertainment executives privately note that while Hollywood can accept stars who bring attention, the organized mayhem may cross a limit and undermine confidence. Restoring trust can be challenging, if not impossible, once destroyed. Rob believes that the couple's entire brand, which is built on approachable comedy and relatable family interactions, may crumble under examination, jeopardizing future collaborations and endorsements. Of course, Ryan and Blake could mount a strong defense. Perhaps they have a cache of data that contradicts Rob's testimony, or they will claim that the text exchanges were taken out of context. Some may argue that Justin Baldoni's conduct influenced them to use manipulative tactics to defend themselves. Rob's decision to align with individuals who have revealed whole unmodified conversations indicates that any comeback story would need to overcome some glaring contradictions. Hollywood analysts note out that once a close associate, like your star's behavior is interpreted as a meticulously coordinated plot, especially with references to dragons and private marketing tactics, it's difficult to reestablish credibility. Meanwhile, the parallels to Amber Heard's story serve as a useful reminder that when contradicting communications or recordings enter the public domain, the narrative might shift many times. Early fans of Blake and Ryan may still be hoping for a different explanation. They remind out that in the harsh world of show business, celebrities frequently take preventive measures that may appear calculated but are not always malicious. They also present the prospect that Rob himself may see strategic decisions, such as how to handle press leaks, as considerably more evil than intended. If this were accurate, the entire tale would be based on misconceptions that became exaggerated until trust was irreversibly shattered. This year, the stage is set for an exceptional test of public relations and personal accountability. Some followers think the couple will offer information that exonerates them from deceptive big designs. Others have complete trust in Rob's narrative, citing his reputation for candor and fairness. In either event, analogies to previous Hollywood firestorms abound. The lesson here is that even real people can conceal hidden agendas. In the end, Ryan and Blake may show that Rob misinterpreted their intentions, resulting in a succession of misreadings. Rob McElhenney's decision to disclose the alleged scheme has cast a spotlight on Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, defining their future in the entertainment industry for years to come.